Bonanza was once America's favorite show. Sunday nights weren't complete without the Cartwrights, but behind the scenes, things weren't as picture-perfect. Today, the surviving cast and their families are facing difficulties that no one saw coming. So how did our childhood heroes end up here? Join us as we break down all the details. What was Bonanza all about? Long before today's TV cowboys started causing trouble on Yellowstone or solving crimes in Longmire, there was Bonanza. And for many, it wasn't just another Western, it was the Western. Every week, Ben Cartwright and his sons galloped into living rooms across America, offering more than just gunfights and ranch life. They brought real heart. The show starred Lorne Greene as Ben, the strong but gentle father figure who ran the massive Ponderosa Ranch in 1860s Nevada. Alongside him were his three sons, Adam, the brainy eldest, Hoss, the lovable big guy, and Little Joe, the fiery charmer played by a young Michael Landon. Together, they handled outlaws, land disputes, family feuds, you name it. But more than anything, they stuck together. And that's what people loved most. Bonanza ran from 1959 to 1973, an incredible 14 seasons and 431 episodes. It became NBC's longest-running Western, second only to Gunsmoke overall. And even today, it still plays in syndication, reaching new generations who never saw a live airing. That's the mark of a classic. But behind the iconic scenes and endless reruns, there's a side of the Bonanza legacy that's been largely forgotten. Sure, we remember the main cast, but what about the others who kept the show going? Over the years, talented actors like David Canary, Guy Williams, Tim Matheson, Mitch Vogel, and Victor Sen Yung, the unforgettable cook, Hop Sing, joined the family. And for many of them, Bonanza was the biggest role they ever got. But here's the truth. For some cast members, Bonanza was both a blessing and a ceiling. Their careers didn't always take off the way fans expected. Some faded into the background, others were typecast, and a few, despite their work on one of TV's most beloved shows, struggled to stay in the spotlight at all. So who were those that were typecast? Keep watching to find out. Lorne Greene. Lorne Greene wasn't just the face of Bonanza, he was its heartbeat. As Ben Cartwright, the wise and steady father of the Cartwright clan, Greene appeared in every single one of the show's 431 episodes. In a series full of galloping horses, he was the true workhorse, anchoring the show with his commanding presence. When Bonanza first hit the airwaves in 1959, TV dads were often bumbling and clueless, but producer David Dortort wanted to flip that narrative. He envisioned Ben Cartwright as a strong, admirable patriarch, respected by his sons and admired by viewers. Dortort even pushed NBC to extend the show from the usual 30 minutes to a full hour, just so audiences could better connect with the characters. It worked. Ben Cartwright didn't just break the mold, he became TV Guide's second all-time favorite father figure. But Greene didn't stop at memorizing lines and hitting his marks. Behind the scenes, he was just as influential. Early on, the Cartwrights were written as standoffish, even rude to strangers. Greene knew that wouldn't sit well with audiences, especially considering the family ran a ranch that relied on community goodwill. He suggested the characters show more hospitality. The writers listened. The result? A dramatic boost in the show's popularity. For all its charm, Bonanza was also cleverly practical. Ever notice the Cartwrights wore the same outfits every episode? That wasn't lazy costuming, it was a money-saving move. Reusing stock footage saved production time and cut costs. Still, even with these tricks, Bonanza was one of the most expensive shows of its time. Long before Bonanza started filming, though, Lorne Greene was given a rare choice when it came to casting. He was given the choice to play the family patriarch, Ben Cartwright, or the eldest son, Adam Cartwright. At the time, Greene was unsure of what to do, so he turned to his friend Leslie Nielsen for advice. Nielsen told him to choose the role of the father, as the children will be tied to him. Greene followed that advice and took the role of Ben Cartwright. When the show finally ended in 1973, Greene didn't ride off into the sunset. He embraced his Western roots, using his fame to launch a music career focused on country and folk. His spoken-word song Ringo, a Western ballad about an outlaw, shot to #1 in both the US and Canada. And during the holidays, fans could hear Greene and his co-stars crooning on Christmas at the Ponderosa, a charming album that showed off their musical talents beyond the saddle. But Greene didn't stay in one genre. In 1978, he made a surprise return to television as Commander Adama in Battlestar Galactica, swapping dusty trails for deep space. Once again, he played a protective leader, this time guiding a fleet of survivors fleeing a robot apocalypse. Even in outer space, Greene never stopped being the father figure. Later, he teamed up with Betty White to co-host the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, their playful back and forth adding a new layer to his public persona. Many didn't know that before he was America's favorite rancher, Greene was already a big name in Canada. In the 1940s, he was known as the Voice of Canada on CBC Radio. But during World War II, as he read grim war reports each night, another nickname stuck, one he never asked for: the Voice of Doom. Lorne Greene lived many lives: actor, singer, broadcaster, patriot. And while millions still remember him as Ben Cartwright, the full story of his legacy is rarely told. Maybe that's the quiet cry behind all the reruns and forgotten albums. Not just a call to remember Bonanza, but to truly remember the people who gave it soul. Though Greene might have made it big in Bonanza, his life was not without its own fair share of trouble. Greene suffered from severe back pain that made sitting and sleeping difficult. Though his back pain did get better with the use of acupuncture. Many boys dream of becoming cowboys, police officers, firefighters, or astronauts. Thanks to TV, Greene got to live those dreams on screen. After his role as Ben Cartwright, he starred as Commander Adama in the original Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979, leading a space crew fighting to survive. He also played lead roles in two lesser-known TV series: Griff, 1973 to 1975, as a former cop turned private detective, and Code Red, 1981 to 1982, where he was a Los Angeles Fire Department battalion chief and father to sons fighting fires. Neither show became a big hit, but Griff enjoyed reruns on the USA Network years later. One guest star on Griff, Nick Nolte, went on to major success. Lorne Greene died in 1987 from pneumonia at age 72. His work, from Western ranches to outer space, left a lasting legacy that still resonates. He remains remembered as a commanding presence on screen and a versatile performer who touched many genres and generations. Pernell Roberts. Pernell Roberts was born on May 18, 1928, and is best known for playing Adam Cartwright, the eldest son on Bonanza. Adam was a character with a sharp mind, a university education, and a talent for architecture, traits that made him proud and respectable within the Cartwright family. But Roberts himself didn't share that pride in the role. He saw Bonanza as a show that wasn't reaching its full potential, much like Robert Reed, who later expressed similar feelings about the Brady Bunch. Roberts thought Bonanza felt less like a passionate project and more like a repetitive factory job. One of the things that bothered Roberts about his character was Adam's ongoing need for his father's approval, even as an adult. This dependence didn't sit well with him. He wanted his character and the show to be more complex and meaningful. Because of these frustrations, Roberts decided to leave Bonanza about halfway through the series. He wanted to pursue roles on stage, where he could find deeper and more socially important stories. Despite this, his time as Adam Cartwright was marked by a difficult relationship with the show. In an interview with the Miami Herald, Roberts took much of the blame for his unhappiness, saying, "It wasn't their fault, it was mine. The show became a real mental strain for me. I even had to see a doctor for help." In another interview with the Daily News leader, Roberts explained why he left the show. "I left Bonanza because I wanted to grow as an actor. Playing the same role week after week was no longer a challenge. The money was good, sure, but I had to decide whether I wanted just money or a chance to prove myself. I chose the chance to grow, even though almost everyone thought I was crazy." Even after leaving the show, Roberts found it hard to break free from the shadow of Adam Cartwright. He shared, "I was getting offers, but they were all for parts like Adam. I had to wait for a role that would let me show a different side of myself. I worked during that time, but I wasn't happy." Thankfully, Roberts kept pushing forward and eventually found a career that made him excited to go to work each day. He described his journey, saying, "It's been a long road. They say the hardest part of a journey is the first steps. My feet didn't move much at first, but now I'm enjoying the holes in my shoes." Outside of acting, Roberts lived his values in real life. He took part in the historic march from Selma to Montgomery, standing up for civil rights during a turbulent time in America. About 10 years after leaving Bonanza, Roberts found another major TV success. He starred in Trapper John M.D., a spin-off of the hit show M.A.S.H. Playing the title character, he gained new fame and showed audiences a fresh side of his talent. On the personal front, Roberts was married 4 times over his life, reflecting a complex private life alongside his career. Sadly, Pernell Roberts passed away in 2010 from pancreatic cancer at the age of 81. He left behind a legacy of dedication to his craft and a commitment to roles that challenged him. Dan Blocker. No one could have filled the boots of Eric Hoss Cartwright better than Dan Blocker. Standing at a towering 6 feet 4 inches and weighing 300 pounds, Blocker was the heart of Bonanza, a gentle giant with a warm soul. His real-life personality matched the character perfectly, and all he had to do was be himself. Born in DeKalb, Texas, in 1928, Dan was a record-breaker from the start. Weighing 14 pounds at birth, he was the heaviest baby ever born in Bowie County. As he grew, his size and strength naturally steered him into physical roles. While still a student, Blocker worked as a rodeo performer, gaining early experience with the cowboy lifestyle that would later define his acting career. Before Bonanza, Blocker got his start in television doing small parts, including a slapstick role in a Three Stooges short where he played a zombie-like goon. His imposing build and southern roots made him a great fit for westerns, and he appeared in shows like Gunsmoke and Cheyenne. But it was Bonanza that changed everything. As Hoss Cartwright, Blocker became a fan favorite. Hoss was kind-hearted, loyal, and often brought a smile even in the show's most serious moments. While his brothers were more fiery or intellectual, Hoss was the emotional glue of the family. Strong, dependable, and tender, Blocker appeared in nearly 400 episodes of the show and was deeply loved by viewers and castmates alike. Sadly, Blocker's run on Bonanza ended far too soon. In 1972, at just 43 years old, he passed away unexpectedly from a pulmonary embolism following gallbladder surgery. Though the operation itself had gone smoothly, he woke up one morning at home struggling to breathe. He died shortly after. His sudden loss shocked the world, and Bonanza never fully recovered. In fact, his death was written into the show, a rare and emotional move for a series at the time. Even though Blocker died young, his legacy continued, not just through reruns of Bonanza, but through his son, Dirk Blocker, who carried on the family tradition by becoming an actor himself. Dirk found lasting fame as Detective Hitchcock on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, bringing laughter to a new generation of TV viewers. Dan Blocker may have played a gentle cowboy, but in real life, he was much the same. A big man with an even bigger heart. His time in the spotlight may have been brief, but his impact on Western television and American pop culture is still felt today. Michael Landon. Michael Landon, Little Joe Cartwright, had a life full of highs and lows, both on and off screen. Before he became a household name, Landon had already faced more than his share of struggles. Born Eugene Maurice Orowitz in 1936, he grew up with an abusive mother who would reportedly threaten suicide in front of him. These traumatic early years left emotional scars, but also gave Landon a drive to succeed and connect with others. In the 1950s, he began taking small acting jobs in film and television, slowly building his career. Everything changed in 1959 when, at just 22 years old, he landed the role of Little Joe Cartwright on Bonanza. As the youngest son on the show, Little Joe was fiery, charming, and headstrong, qualities that made him a fan favorite. But Landon wasn't content to just act. He used his time on Bonanza as a kind of film school, studying the work of directors, writers, and producers. He started writing scripts and directing episodes, showing real talent behind the camera. Some of the show's most emotional and memorable episodes came from Landon's vision, including the powerful Season 14 premiere, Forever. This not only cemented his place in Bonanza history, but also launched him into a second career as a respected writer and director. After Bonanza ended, Landon didn't slow down. He created and starred in Little House on the Prairie, playing Charles Ingalls, the steady, moral center of a family facing frontier hardships. The show became a television classic, and Landon once again served as both lead actor and creative force behind the scenes. His next big hit, Highway to Heaven, saw him playing an angel sent to Earth to help people, further proving his ability to blend heart, drama, and purpose on screen. Off-screen, Landon's personal life was more complicated. He married 3 times. His first marriage to Dodie Levy-Fraser ended after 6 years. He then married actress Marjorie Lynn Noe, whom he met while working. That marriage eventually broke apart too, after Landon began a relationship with Cindy Clerico, a makeup artist on Little House. Despite the messy family dynamics, Landon tried to be a devoted father to all of his children, both biological and adopted, insisting they were all part of his family. He also had a strong circle of friends in Hollywood. One of them, Johnny Carson, was the person Landon chose to share his cancer diagnosis with on The Tonight Show in 1991. It was his way of staying in control of his story, rather than letting tabloids spread rumors. Sadly, just a few months after that emotional interview, Michael Landon passed away from pancreatic cancer. He was only 54, not 71, as often mistakenly reported. Michael Landon left behind more than just hit shows. He left a legacy of telling stories that focused on love, hardship, family, and redemption. From Little Joe Cartwright to Charles Ingalls, he gave viewers characters they could look up to, and a reminder that no matter how rough life gets, there's always a chance to build something better. David Canary. As Candy Canaday, David Canary brought loyalty, strength, and heart to Bonanza, quickly becoming a fan favorite. But his road to the Ponderosa Ranch almost went in a very different direction. Born in Elwood, Indiana, in 1938, Canary was not just a talented actor, he was also a standout athlete. So much so that in 1960, during the first-ever American Football League draft, he was picked by the Denver Broncos. A future in professional football seemed likely, but Canary's passion for the arts, especially singing and acting, proved stronger than the pull of the gridiron. He turned down football to pursue a different kind of spotlight. His decision paid off. Joining Bonanza in the later seasons, Canary played Candy, a loyal and tough ranch hand who quickly became part of the Cartwright family. He didn't just bring brawn to the role, he brought depth, playing Candy as someone who could handle a fight, but also had a strong moral compass. His character was involved in some of the show's more serious plots, and Canary handled them with real emotional range. After Bonanza, Canary's career skyrocketed again, this time in daytime television. He landed a defining role on the soap opera All My Children, where he played not just one but two characters, the ruthless businessman Adam Chandler and his kind-hearted twin brother Stuart. The dual role was demanding, but Canary made it look effortless. His performances were so impressive that he earned 16 Daytime Emmy nominations and won 5 of them. Canary became a mainstay on All My Children for decades, staying with the show until just 2 years before his death. Despite his fame, he was known as a humble, gentle soul off-camera, far from the intense characters he sometimes portrayed. David Canary passed away on November 16, 2015, at the age of 77. But from the Ponderosa to Pine Valley, he left behind a legacy of talent, dedication, and unforgettable performances. Mitch Vogel. Just like Pernell Roberts' departure left a gap in Bonanza that needed filling, David Canary's temporary exit due to a contract dispute meant the show had to bring in new energy. That's when the producers turned to young Mitch Vogel, who joined the cast at just 12 years old. He played Jamie Hunter, an orphan taken in by the Cartwrights who eventually became a full-fledged member of the family. Don't let his age fool you, though. Vogel wasn't new to the spotlight. Before Bonanza, he had already earned a Golden Globe nomination for his role in The Reavers, where he starred alongside Steve McQueen. That performance showed he had both the talent and the emotional depth to stand toe-to-toe with seasoned actors. As Jamie, Vogel brought a new kind of dynamic to the show. His storylines gave the Cartwrights a chance to show their softer, more nurturing sides. He wasn't just the kid sidekick. Jamie dealt with grief, identity, and growing pains, making him a meaningful addition to the show's later years. After his time on Bonanza and roles in films like Texas Detour, 1978, Vogel chose to step away from the acting world. He moved to Pittsburgh, started a band, and settled into a quieter life. He got married, raised 2 children, and focused on family. Today, Mitch Vogel is living in Southern California. While he's no longer in the Hollywood spotlight, he hasn't left the stage entirely. He still performs with his band and uses his acting skills to direct and act in local church plays. Though no longer in front of millions of TV viewers, he continues to share his creativity and passion with his community. Victor Sen Yung. Don't ever show up late to dinner when Hop Sing is cooking. Or risk the wrath of Bonanza's beloved chef. Played by Victor Sen Yung, Hop Sing wasn't just the Ponderosa's cook. He brought humor, warmth, and cultural representation to a Western show that, for its time, didn't often venture outside of white, male leads. Yet, Hop Sing stood out, not only for his culinary skills, but for becoming one half of one of the earliest interracial marriages on American television. While Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz had already broken ground with their own multi-ethnic relationship on I Love Lucy, Hop Sing's storyline still felt bold. His presence became essential to Bonanza's identity, appearing in 107 episodes between 1959 and 1973. Series creator David Dortort even admitted that Victor's portrayal created such a loyal fan base that they began building whole episodes around him. Victor was just absolutely delightful, Dortort recalled. He loved the part. He loved doing it. Off-screen, Victor Sen Yung had an impressive career, appearing in over 160 films and TV shows. Long before Bonanza, he starred alongside Humphrey Bogart in Across the Pacific, 1942, And he was best known to early audiences as Jimmy Chan, son of Detective Charlie Chan in the popular mystery films of the 1930s and 40s. Like his Bonanza character, Victor was passionate about food. In 1974, he published The Great Wok Cookbook, bringing authentic Chinese cooking into American homes. He also ran a small mail-order Chinese pottery business, crafting clayware himself. But his life wasn't without hardship. In 1972, he was aboard Pacific Southwest Airlines Flight 710 when it was hijacked. When the FBI stormed the plane, Senator Yung was shot in the back during the rescue. He survived, though one passenger and both hijackers died. Just 3 years later, he appeared on To Tell the Truth, recounting the hijacking. Ironically, none of the panelists recognized him as the real Victor Sen Yung. In 1980, tragedy struck. At 65, Sen Yung was found dead in his North Hollywood home from accidental gas poisoning. Investigators believe a gas leak from the kiln he used to cure pottery caused his death. Sadly, his body wasn't discovered until November 9th, though he had likely died around October 31st. Some rumors of foul play surfaced, but the police ultimately ruled the death accidental. In a touching tribute, Pernell Roberts paid for Sen Yung's funeral and delivered the eulogy, honoring his friend's legacy both on and off the screen. Though often overlooked, Victor Sen Yung's work on Bonanza helped shape the show's heart, and his legacy still simmers in the memories of fans who remember Hop Sing as more than just a cook, but as family. Ray Teal. As a character actor, Ray Teal became so woven into the fabric of the Western genre that it's almost impossible to think of a lawman without picturing him. With his steady presence and commanding voice, Teal fully embodied Sheriff Roy Coffey on Bonanza. A man of few words, abundant wisdom, and an unshakable moral compass. As the time sheriff of Virginia City, his role brought stability and a grounded real-world balance to the often chaotic lives of the Cartwrights. Teal's career extended far beyond Bonanza, though. With over 300 film and television credits, he was one of the most prolific supporting actors of his time. And yet, despite the sheer volume of his roles, Teal never faded into the background. His ability to command attention in even the briefest of scenes helped him stand out in classics like Kirk Douglas's Ace in the Hole, where, no surprise, he played a sheriff once again. He wore the badge so often it practically became part of his wardrobe. But Teal wasn't always playing the long arm of the law. In Marlon Brando's The Wild One, he took on a more relaxed role as an indulgent bar owner, showing his range and ability to soften his usually stern presence when the role called for it. Ray Teal brought depth to characters who might otherwise be overlooked. As Sheriff Roy Coffey, he was the calm in the storm, a consistent force in a world that changed rapidly. His legacy is one of reliability, versatility, and classic Western gravitas. After decades of steady, dedicated work on stage and screen, Ray Teal passed away in 1976 at the age of 74. Guy Williams. When Pernell Roberts departed Bonanza in pursuit of more meaningful, stage-driven work, the show needed a fix to maintain its successful Four Cartwrights formula. Enter Guy Williams, cast as Will Cartwright, Ben's nephew. Williams, already a fan favorite thanks to his charismatic turn as the swashbuckling Zorro, brought a fresh energy and Hollywood charm to the Ponderosa. The transition seemed seamless at first. Williams' arrival was intended to keep the Cartwright family unit intact for viewers, and with his tall frame, debonair style, and easy likability, it felt like the producers had struck gold. But behind the scenes, things were less harmonious. Rumors swirled that Michael Landon, who played Little Joe, wasn't thrilled about sharing the spotlight with another young, handsome actor. Some claim that Landon's disapproval ultimately influenced the decision to write Williams out of the show, cutting short what could have been a longer run for the character of Will Cartwright. Still, Guy Williams didn't need Bonanza to make television history. Shortly after, he found renewed success as Professor John Robinson, the steady patriarch in the beloved sci-fi classic Lost in Space. His calm authority and fatherly presence once again made him a staple in American households. By the 1980s, Williams chose a quieter life, retiring early to Buenos Aires, Argentina, where he had developed a devoted fan base, especially due to the continued popularity of Zorro. He lived peacefully until 1989, when he tragically died of a brain aneurysm at the age of 65. Bing Russell. Bing Russell brought a quiet charm and steady presence to Bonanza as Deputy Clem Foster, serving the Ponderosa and Virginia City faithfully from 1959 onwards. Though not a Cartwright, Russell was part of the show's backbone, a reliable supporting character who helped ground the storylines in a believable community. He appeared alongside greats like Lorne Greene, Michael Landon, and Pernell Roberts, and became a familiar face to fans during the show's long and celebrated run. Outside Bonanza, Russell was no stranger to westerns, having appeared in The Magnificent Seven, further cementing his cowboy credentials. Throughout his acting career, he guest-starred in numerous television shows, often portraying lawmen, ranchers, or other rugged, dependable characters. But his impact went beyond Hollywood. In a surprising second act, Bing Russell became a beloved baseball figure, owning the Portland Mavericks, an independent minor league team from 1973 to 1977. His philosophy was radical. He prioritized fun and fairness. Tryouts were open to anyone, and he gave overlooked players a final chance to chase their dreams. He built a team full of heart, grit, and joy, a living rejection of the cutthroat nature of professional sports. That story was later featured in the acclaimed Netflix documentary, The Battered Bastards of Baseball. Russell's legacy continued through his son, Kurt Russell, a celebrated actor in his own right. Fittingly, in the 1979 biopic Elvis, Kurt played the king, while Bing portrayed Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, a touching moment of real-life father and son sharing the screen. Bing Russell passed away from cancer on April 8, 2003 in Thousand Oaks, California. He was 76. Whether as a dependable deputy, a proud baseball owner, or a supportive father, Bing Russell's legacy is one of passion, principle, and purpose. Tim Matheson. Tim Matheson joined Bonanza at a pivotal moment in the show's history, its 14th and final season, as Griff King, a young parolee, offered a second chance as a ranch hand on the Ponderosa. While his time on Bonanza was brief, Matheson brought a fresh dynamic to the aging series, portraying a character with a complicated past who was determined to prove himself. Already a seasoned performer by that point, Matheson had grown up on screen, voicing Johnny Quest in the classic animated series and appearing in shows like The Virginian and Window on Main Street. His role on Bonanza gave him the chance to transition from child actor to adult star. Following Bonanza, Matheson's career took off in a big way. He delivered unforgettable performances as Otter in the legendary comedy Animal House and as Vice President John Hoynes on The West Wing, a role that earned him 2 Emmy nominations. His voice has appeared in everything from Scooby-Doo to Batman, the animated series, and he's popped up in dozens of fan-favorite shows like This Is Us, The Good Fight, and Heart of Dixie, where he played the charming Dr. Breland. Matheson is also an accomplished director, with credits on Saint Elsewhere, Burn Notice, The Good Guys, and Psych, among many others. Even in recent years, he continues to act and direct, showing up in the 2023 reboot of Quantum Leap. A man of strong convictions, Matheson hasn't shied away from voicing his political views either. While preparing to portray Ronald Reagan in a 2016 film, he made headlines for candid remarks about then-presidential candidate Donald Trump, calling him a very troubled, emotional mess. Now in his 70s, Tim Matheson remains one of the most versatile actors to have passed through Bonanza's legendary cast. A former child star who matured into a powerful performer and respected creative voice in Hollywood. Which Bonanza character was your favorite? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to check out the next video on your screen. You will enjoy it.